Welcome to another lesson on PowerShell 7. In this tutorial, I will go over how we can use the built-in help features like an expert. On your Windows machine, go to the Start menu and open PowerShell in Administrative Privileges. Some of the functions and commandlets we will be using today require administrative privileges to run. So if you don't open your PowerShell in Administrative Privileges, you will get some error messages. So make sure you open your PowerShell 7 window, the app in the Administrative Privileges. I have the latest version of PowerShell, which is 7.3.2, which is available as of today. So if you haven't updated your PowerShell, make sure it is updated and it is the latest version. That is probably the first thing you need to do before you starting to work with any PowerShell applications. Make sure all your modules and everything is up to date. PowerShell includes a built-in help system accessible through a commandlet, and that commandlet is get-help. What this commandlet going to do, it will find any available resources from Microsoft databases and display on your PowerShell window. So for example, if I even press just get help commandlets and press enter, it gives information about how to use this get help commandlet. So it tells us that it is a PowerShell help system, and it gives you a description, and it also has a long description right here. And there's some information about online help just below here, etc., etc. The get help commandlet was added to the PowerShell on our previous versions of PowerShell, and it helps the scripters and developers easily write their own content and own scripts by using Windows or Microsoft databases that contain information about available commandlets. So basically, if you forget a commandlet, you can basically use that get help, the get help commandlet to get information on whatever the commandlet that you're looking at. And if you want to look at a specific commandlet, look it up a specific commandlet and information available to you. For example, the null out commandlet, if I press enter, it'll display just like before, the names, syntax, any aliases available, and some information related to that particular commandlet. However, if you have just installed your PowerShell 7, the information contained within here in this part may not be up to date. Microsoft always provide us with a link to their web page that contain help information for that specific commandlet that you are looking for. In this case, for null out commandlet, we have a link to Microsoft web page that contain additional information regarding this particular commandlet. If you want to open this, what you can do, actually you can hold down to Alt key and press the link, and it will open up the Microsoft website that contain information about the commandlet null out, and it has all the information including some examples of how to use that null out commandlet. Now the problem with this sometimes is that your local get help database may not have been updated with all the information you need, and therefore you may have very little information up here, and you have to go and visit this website to get additional help for this particular commandlet. In PowerShell, there are some databases that can be updated into your local machine, which is called the updatable help. Updatable help was added in Windows PowerShell 3, and it allows users to obtain the most recent version of help documentation outside the PowerShell web services. Because in other words, that you can get the latest up-to-date information on any particular commandlet display on your screen without going to the website by updating your get help databases. Not all commandlets will support this, but most will. So let's clear this screen. So to clear your screen, you can either use clear, like you can type clear like that, or you can type just CLS and press enter. It will just clear your screen. So basically, if you don't want to keep visiting Windows website, Microsoft website, you can update some information on your database related to get help command within your computer. So if you want to look at what are the available modules that can be updated, you can type get-module, and we're going to use the switch -list available, and we're going to pipe it into where object is help info URI, because that will display all the available info, the modules that we can update it to our local database. Again, what this is going to do is going to display what is available to us that can be downloaded to our local device. So if I press enter, you can see all of these databases and modules, basically modules, manifest scripts, all of these things can be downloaded to your device. So if you want to look at what can be downloaded to your device, you can run that command, get-module. We're going to use a switch list available, and we're going to pipe it to our object and then help info URI. So that will list all the available items that can be locally saved. So I'm going to clear this again. Now, because that information is not always updated, like for example in nullout, this may not be the complete information. The first thing you need to do is to update your local help database. To do that, I'm going to run a command that would be a very simple command, but that will make all your databases up to date to this point. To do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to run update-help. That's the command that we're going to use, and I'm going to put the switch verbose. What verbose mean? Verbose means I will explain that in one of the future videos, and I'm going to use the switch force again. I will explain what the force switch is going to do later sometime in a different video. And I'm going to put dash, and I'm going to do error action, and I'm going to set the error action into silently. So silently continue. So just to give you an overview of what this is, basically it's going to update your local help database for your PowerShell 7, and it's going to do it continuously, bypassing all the errors and silently. So I'm going to press enter. What this is going to do, it's going to go and fetch all the help databases, and depending on your internet connections and speed, it might take some time, and it will update that onto your local computer. As you can see, it downloaded a whole bunch of stuff to your computer. So make sure that your device have enough space to download all this help content. In my case, it is downloading to the C drive and the help folder. It may be downloading to somewhere else. So this is under C drive, and this is my user account administrator under the help folder. And if we go in there, if you go right here, go to the C drive, I believe where is it? It's C users administrator. So I can just basically go to documents right here, and then PowerShell and help, and you can see right here it downloaded a whole bunch of modules and variable information and commandlet information right in this folder. So make sure that you have enough space to download this information because otherwise you might run out of space. So right now, as of February 2023, the entire database has about 400 files and about 100 folders with only about 40 megabytes of space. So it's not that much. So that's why it's very important doing this earlier on so that you will have all the help information locally available to you. So again, depending on your internet speed and connections, it might be fast or slow. Another thing I want to point out is that if you decided to run this command to update your get help, and if you decided if you wanted to interrupt it, remember our interrupt command, which is basically Control C. So if it start loading and then you don't want to go through the update, you can type Control C on your keyboard to bypass or interrupt the operation. So I have mentioned this in previous videos, and keep that in mind, because every single time you don't want to run something but you accidentally press it. Just right now you saw it that I press enter here, but right away I press Control C. It just interrupted that process. So you can interrupt the process before it's began or during the update, during a process is ongoing. So having said that, now the PowerShell update has been the update local database has been updated. If I run get help and null out commandlet, I know that all the information available on Microsoft with respect to null out commandlet will be displayed. So when I press enter now here, the view is different. Remember, few minutes ago when I press enter after entering get help commandlet and null out, I had this online version link, and then I didn't have this whole bunch of information. If you start comparing what you see right now with the same command we ran few minutes ago, it's different now. The reason for that is I have just updated our PowerShell local help database, and as a result, a scripter like you now have access to all the latest information for help modules on your local machine. So you don't need to actually visit even this site if you were actually looking for some basic information, because all of that will be displayed on your window, on your PowerShell 7 window. So obviously if you go in here, there will be some little bit of extra information, maybe Microsoft added something that is not showing up there, etc, etc, but everything is in there. Like for example, if I put it this side by side, you can see this is the web page and this is what is being displayed now after we update our help database, local help database. And you can see it shows all the information here on the website, and whatever on the website is here as well. So most of the information that you need, the key information, will be displayed on your PowerShell 7 program. So you don't have to open the web version of it. So that is the first thing you should do before starting any help features or functions on PowerShell 7. Having said that, I'm going to clear the screen. And the next thing I'm going to show you is different way of using the get help commandlet. So the get help commandlet is a very versatile commandlet that can be used with almost any commandlet and aliases. The reason why I'm saying is almost any commandlets and aliases is that you may have some custom aliases or commandlets that may be using at your workplace that may not have get help functions available, but typically almost everything that you use as a novice learner of PowerShell 7, the get help commandlet will display help information for specific commandlet that you're looking for. So if I press enter here, that it gives you how we can use the get help commandlet. So only thing I did here, type get-help commandlet and press enter, and it gives us the topic and it gives us a description. And if you read, it says the PowerShell help describe the PowerShell commandlets, functions, scripts, and modules, and explain the concepts including elements of the PowerShell language. PowerShell does not include help files, but you can read help topics online for some additional information, and it also gives that online link always. This is something I really like about the Windows PowerShell 7 and the previous versions of PowerShells as well. They always list the Microsoft website for up-to-date information if you choose to do so, like if you choose to use that. And if you go down in this get help commandlet, you can see it gives you how you can use it. For example, to open online help for any commandlet, so you don't like to have it display here, you can use the switch dash online, right? So that means what that's going to do, it's going to basically display the whatever you want to look at directly online, so you don't have to click on things. Like it tells you how to update help here as well, which I showed you how you can update it. It mentioned that you need to have administrative privileges to update help, and you can see that there are some examples of how this commandlet can be used and how you can utilize for your particular purposes. So in this lecture, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over some of these examples and how to use it, because right here on the very bottom, they even include some examples how you can use certain functions related to the get help commandlet. So let's do that. So the first thing I'm going to show you, remember from just the previous screen right here, it tells you that if you don't like the way that it is being displayed here, you can actually use the dash online command, and it actually gives you an example of that, like for example get help, get process. And let's look at what that does. What does this switch do, right? So let's go back and let's enter get help, and I'm going to do null out. And when we enter a dash on our PowerShell, that is called a switch, and I'm going to type online. And if I press enter here, what it's going to do is basically going to open that null out web page. So instead of displaying the get help information for this null out command from your local database, local help database, which we just updated, you can simply enter get help and enter whatever your commandlet and dash online. Like for example, if I type get help space, so let's try AC, so I don't know what it is, and type online, press enter, and it will open what AC means. It's AC stand for add content. It must be a alias. So if you don't want to display the information here, you can, instead of entering like that, you can simply put dash online. That will directly get you to this web page, whatever the latest link that available. The get AC, for example, is not even a commandlet. In here, what I entered here is not even a commandlet. It is actually kind of an alias. It is an alias, and it is referring to the commandlet add content. And again, it gives you the syntax down here, and it gives you a description. And as an expert PowerShell 7 help user, you should be able to read these things and understand what that means as we go through this course. So again, if you don't want to display the information on your screen, you can put the switch dash online. So I'm going to clear this again. And next thing is I'm going to show you the different features of the get help commandlet, and that includes things like displaying available topics, debugging, and try to sort it through help topics. So if you want to display available topics, what you do actually, you enter get help which is the commandlet we use, and put a star and press enter. That gonna display all the available topics that is related to that get help commandlet. See, we have hundreds of available topics that can be used by scripters to get information about what they do. That include aliases, that include commandlets, that include functions. So keep that in mind. And also some help files too. So it's not just going to give you information about just the commandlet, but it also gives you aliases. For example, ACE is an alias, right? So that, or see, that is basically what it is doing. So previously, for example, I type get help AC. AC is actually an alias for add content. But because this alias is identified by our help functions files, it refer that AC to the add content commandlet, and it display whatever available information for add content help features. So as you can see, you can use PowerShell get help function or commandlet to get a lot of information while you are working with PowerShell script and writing your scripts. So again, to do that, what we enter is get help, and then put a star at the front, and so get help space star, and that will display that all the available information for get help. Now imagine I don't want everything displayed here. I want a specific item that is available through get help, and I think it starts with D, but I'm not sure what the whole commandlet is. So because I'm working on a script and I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but I have a vague idea what it is. In that case, I'm going to put D and press this, enter the same thing, the star, and press enter. What that's going to display is basically any commandlet or alias or function that is available on PowerShell 7 that start with D. For example, right here, everything start with D. And right here, the commandlets, everything start with D. And if you go down right here, we have functions that start with D. So in other words, get help can be customized in a way that you can filter whatever you want, so it won't display bunch of stuff that you don't want. Like for example, if I want to go get help and I want to know everything start with C, so I'm going to put C and I'm going to put the star and press enter. These are all the commandlets and aliases and functions that is available on PowerShell 7 that start with C. So this allows you to filter your help items, and then once you figure out what you want to look at, then you can get, oh, I want to know how the clear disk work. So I'm going to go get help. I'll press enter here so it's easy for you to see. So what I'm trying to enter is right here, clear disk. So on the bottom of the screen right here, I'm gonna go get dash help, and then I'm gonna go clear disk and press enter. Now it's gonna go and fetch information related to clear disk. I may have not known that this commandlet even existed in PowerShell 7, but that's okay, because by using the get help C this star thing, I know this particular commandlet exists. Obviously the other option is to type get dash help and space, and you can put CL and then go, you can press the tab. You can tab through different items. So this is everything start with C, and it's eventually going to go into D, E, etc. If you want to know everything start with D, you can go D and then press tab, and then it will give you everything start with D, etc, etc. So if you're not sure, like for example Z, if you press Z, and press tab, and these are the only items that are available in Z. It doesn't have anything else, so it only displays the one that are available. So C, for example, have a lot of items, as opposed to Z, you only have certain items. So that means it's going to display everything related, you start with that particular letter. So again, if you're not sure, you can always go like, Z star and press enter, and it tells you, whatever available, it's only available, only that one available. If that's the case, it's just gonna show up that. So that's another feature of get help. Now imagine you have something that you need to look up from get help that start with let's say get, and it start with N, but I'm not sure what's after that, right? You want something start with N, you can do that too. So you can do get dash N, and you can press the star here and press enter. So what that's going to do, it's gonna match everything from here all the way to dash N. So it's gonna start, remember it's a verb, noun. So all of these are actually verb and a noun. The verb is already written, so I want everything with get in it, but the noun start with N, and it lists everything start with noun N. And look at this, it has bunch of stuff that start with net in it, and bunch of start with none in it, because it has that particular thing. Now let's say I want something that has it just net adapter, and I want anything to do with net adapters sorted through. So I want everything right here, basically anything that has a net adapter in it, right? So if I want to do that, I can do that as well. So let's clear this. So instead of doing this, I can do the other thing is, it doesn't matter it's a capital or simple. So you can put get dash N star, and that will do the same thing as get dash N star or like N star. It doesn't really matter, it's the same thing, because in PowerShell, again and again I'm gonna keep mentioning this, it doesn't really matter this is capitalized or anything, because the Windows PowerShell is not case sensitive. But I want net adapters, right? So I want anything with net adapters, but not just net adapters. So I don't want that. So because that will give you the information about the help information available for the get dash net adapter. Instead, I want to have anything that has net adapter in it. So to do that, I'm going to put a star right after net adapter and press enter. So what it did, it display everything sorted so that only the items that is under net adapter and something else or net adapter itself will be listed on your screen. So you're working on a script and you're writing a script for some kind of a network process, and this is how you can sort it through and get only that information display on your screen. So let's clear this screen. Another commandlet that is very useful is the get commandlet. So get dash commandlet. So command, and if I press enter here, you will notice that just like get help, it listed all the aliases, functions, and commandlets available to us on our screen. So instead of get help, we are typing get dash command. What you can do with get dash commandlet is that if I clear the screen, with this commandlet, we can put a switch, for example, dash now, and then we can give that particular noun and look for that particular noun. So for example, if I want to know remember this is a verb noun pairs that we have, and we want everything to do with, let's say, service, for example. So I do get dash command switch noun. So right here it's the say dash means switch noun, and put service and press enter. It's going to list everything in our database that has service as a noun. So right here, service, service, service. So it could be get service, new service, remove service, restart, etc., etc. So it doesn't matter what the verb is, but the noun match with service, and the get command commandlet will display that. Now I will clear this as well. And in here we put noun as a switch, but can you do the verb? Yes, you can. So let's try verb, and I'm gonna find any commandlet that has the verb set in it. So it's gonna go through and find all the available commandlets with set at the front, because maybe I'm writing a script that I want to set an IP address for my server specific configuration, or I want to set a name, or etc., etc. So I'm gonna press enter. There you go. So this is everything that has set at the front. In other words, this is a verb noun pair. So this is the verb that is set that we are sorting through, and anything with set in it, whether it's an alias, function, or a commandlet, that gonna get displayed as a result. So again, I'm going to show you what it means. So again, if I go back to the noun and I want anything with date in it, because I'm trying to set a date or change a date, right? Press enter. There you go. We have set date and get date. And you can use this commandlet, the get command, to display such information. And another one I want to show you is the piping effect that you have when you have a whole bunch of information displaying on your screen. For example, let's say I use get dash command, the one we just used before. And this time I want to display everything, but I don't want to display in the whole screen. So I'm going to put pipe. Remember, it turned red right here. That means it's giving us an indication this command is wrong. I will show you. What that basically means is that it is not complete yet. It's not no wrong, but it's just not complete. That's why it's turned red. And I'm gonna put it the pipe as more and press enter. What that did is to display only a portion of all the available items under the get command commandlet, because we have piped it into more. And if you look at this page, because it's only showing the first portion or first page of all the available commandlets or functions, etc., aliases available here. On the bottom of here, it has this word called more. What that means is basically if I press spacebar right now, it goes to the next page. Spacebar, it goes to the next page. It allows you to just get information one page at a time. And that may be useful for some of you who are working on large scripts and you just want to read through some of the available functions and aliases that you would like to use. And once you find your function or alias, let's say I was looking for this particular one and I now found it. As always, you can press the Control C to exit out of it. So now you are back at your command prompt again. So what I did there is that I put get command commandlet, but I pipe it into more, so it'll only page one single page. And the advantage of that is basically once I found whatever I want to find out, I can simply exit out with CTRL-C, or if I didn't find something or if I'm looking for more, I can keep going until it ends. So instead of displaying everything all at once, that pipe right here, make it so that it'll only display one page at a time. So that's another useful feature with the get command function. The other one I want to show you is that when you display get help information, there's a couple of ways to display it, like 3 different ways to display that information on your screen. For example, if I type get help, so I'm going to switch back to get help commandlet, and if I put format table, if I press enter here, that gives some information about the format table commandlet. And in addition to that, I can also do format table dash detail. So it's a detail switch and press enter. If you look at this, the get help format table commandlet. That's what I'm trying to get help for, and detail, as opposed to just get help format table. You can see the get help format table has less information compared to get help format table detail. That because the detail switch is giving you a lot more information, everything, almost everything available on the Microsoft site, and it has also some additional information that you may be interested in. So again, you can either use get help format that, or get help whatever your commandlet, and that will just give you just enough information to go by, and that may be more than enough for you to do your project work. Or you can do the get help table detail, that will give you a lot more information. And the other one I want to show you is get help table the switch call full. What that will give you is everything. This is more detailed than the detail command and it will have everything you need to know, what is required and additional information, etc, etc. So compared to that, with let's say detail, it has a little bit of less information compared to the full switch. So that is a useful switch that you can use, the detail and full. There are two switches that you can use, and that will be very helpful to some of you when you're searching for certain information. So again, the switches can be detail, full, or just no switch at all. So no switch at all is as minimal detail as possible, but just enough for you to figure out what the commandlet is going to do and some of the functions and available options. And then the full will give you a little bit of more detail, and then the detail will give you everything related to that specific commandlet. So that's another thing that you can get information through this system. Another helpful feature that I'm going to introduce to you is something called show command. That will give you all available commandlets and aliases, etc. in a pop-up window. So that basically is show-command. If I press enter, what that's going to give you is a pop-up window that includes all the available modules, and you can shift it through based on whatever you're looking for. Like for example, let's say I want to know app vClient, and these are the two available information, and you can go to show detail and it'll start showing detail on here, and it'll give you some information in here. So this is another way that you can actually check items out without for example BitLocker. These are all the information available for BitLocker, and you can actually pick something. Like for example, you can if you want to get the BitLocker volume, you can click on that and you can say show detail. It will show some detail if you want to know any detail in there, and you can actually run that command too. If you press run, it'll drop it down here. So I'm gonna show you again. So I'm gonna go clear. So if I enter show command, and I'm gonna go and pick let's say let's go IP. So let's go net adapter, and I want to know get net adapter. So let's see, let's go and find something that is useful. Net adapter statistics. So I want to run this command called net adapter statistics. So I can say run. It's gonna pop up down here, and if I get enter, there you go, it ran the net adapter statistics commandlet. So that's another useful function. So get help, and in addition to having those get help and other features that I just showed you, you can use the show command function. That'll give you a nice GUI, a user interface, where you can copy commands such as like get dash net adapter statistics, and that'll actually do the same thing. So instead of going and looking for this specific commandlet, you can use the show command to give you that pop-up and allowing you to shift all the available items through to get whatever the information. Like for example, I want aliases. Press that one, run, press enter, and there you go, it displays all the available aliases. And that's the one that I'm going to talk about next, the commandlet called get aliases. So if you just want to view just the aliases, for example, just I showed you right here. I'm going to clear the screen. Sorry. Oh, there you go. That's an error. So error on PowerShell 7 is in red. As you can see, the CLER doesn't exist. It's clear. Or CLS also does the same thing. And so the last command that I ran is get aliases, right? Because that's what I got it from that pop-up window for show command. So what this is going to do, basically, it's going to display all the available aliases. So it is a useful function if you don't want to look at all the available items for aliases, functions, and etc, etc. So you can use either get aliases. Again, remember, you can also use the other functions that I just mentioned to you, such as more, for example. So it'll display one page at a time and you can exit out of it. And you can also, like, if you want know an alias, for example, I want to know the get alias, let's say CD, press enter. There you go. It tells you the alias CD is for set location. You can do like get alias, let's say dir. It gives you what get alias dir do. It's just get the child item, and so on, so on. Now, if you want all the child items, you can do that too. So if I go right here, if I type clear, and if I go get dash child item and press enter, there you go. These are all the child items that is available to us, and it is displaying all the child items right here. Again, if you don't want all of these things displayed like this, you can always do get child item, and then I'm going to put pipe it and type more, and it's going to give one page at a time. And once you find out what child item that you would like to use in your script and you are comfortable with that, you can go Control C, and that will get out of that particular commandlet. There are a lot of other options available in get help. Another example of this would be like I can put the switch category, and you have to give a specific category to be sorted to be displayed here. For example, I want to have a category of help files. If I press enter, what that's going to do, it's going to put all the help files on your page. So the get help commandlet with the category switch can switch this way so that it will only display the files, only display the items that are categorized as help files. Again, this is a very useful way when you are working on a large script and you want to figure out something, and this is a useful way to do that. And in addition to that switch, you can also do other switches as well. So there are a lot of switches, as I mentioned, available here. So for example, let's try name. So I want to go and get help name, and I want to know about and star. So I'm going to do about star. So this is another way of trying to sort things out, and press enter, and it's going to show everything that has about and something else attached to it. So it's not just going to show about, because there may not be any about name, but anything in the name box right here with something with that about section going to get displayed there. So there are like multiple way of sorting things through using your help functions in PowerShell 7, and I hope this tutorial actually help you in understanding all of these fundamental concepts, so it is easier for you to navigate through PowerShell help features. These help features are very useful when you are starting out, because all of these help features that I have covered today will come in handy when you get stuck on a script and you need some help with that script. So again, there are a lot more to PowerShell than what I may have covered. If you want me to cover something very specific that I have not covered today, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I covered, please don't hesitate to leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel and thumbs up this video. Until next time, thank you so much and have a nice day.